As we gather together, we acknowledge that the land upon which our church and homes exist is the ancestral land stolen from the people of the Shoshone Bannock, the Shoshone Paiute, Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai, and Nez Perce nations, along with many other tribes whose names have been lost in history. We acknowledge that our presence here today is founded upon the exclusions and erasures of many indigenous peoples. With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our ongoing commitment to the work of dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. It is my great honor to serve this beloved community. And today I'm joined by Gwyn Reid, who is serving as our celebrant. And we are joined by our fabulous choir offering us music today, directed by Carrie Bastian, our music director. And I want to say a shout out of thanks to all of the volunteers and staff that are serving in all of our spaces today. A welcome to those who are joining us virtually on Zoom. I'll invite everyone to turn around, wave to the camera. It's great to have you there, and we now have the ability to see you on our screens here in the sanctuary. So if you're able and comfortable, turn on your camera for a moment and let us see your fabulous morning faces. You can cheers us with your coffee, give us a wave. Hello, friends out there. I see Claudia out there. Well, there's a whole crew of people. Who's that? I can't read the names. Pamela's family is out there. Sandy Cruz is out there. This is great. Edith, I see Edith and Mark Fowler. And I have to get so close because I can't actually read the names from here. But thank you, friends. It's lovely to see your names and your faces as a reminder that we worship together as one beloved community beyond the walls of this sanctuary. In joining us this morning, even if it's your first time, and wow, there are a lot of first-timers out there, so welcome to all of you. You are entering into a community dedicated to making visible in this world a profound love by nurturing spiritual growth, encouraging curiosity, and enacting justice. If that call speaks to your heart, you are welcome here. Whatever your spiritual heritage, no matter how or if you pray, whomever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. And we know it takes a lot of courage to cross the threshold of any new community, and so to our newcomers virtually and in person, a special welcome to you. We invite you to introduce yourselves to us after the service during our hospitality time and in the chat on Zoom so that we can warmly welcome you. We invite you to fill out a newcomer form. There's a link online in the chat, and forms are in our entryways at our welcome table so we can keep you up to date with all that is happening in our fellowship. I do have a few announcements that I want to share and I want to highlight for the whole community. First, our hospitality gratitude every week. This week goes to Deborah Smith and Clay Lyons. Thank you both so much. It takes a village. It takes a village to offer hospitality. And we do it by inviting everyone to take a turn and sign up and to be part of that giving and receiving experience. And you can do that online and in our sign-up sheets in the hospitality room. Next Sunday, our board is hosting a very important town hall for us to talk about how we envision our future together and the needs of this building and our physical campus and our space. And the board is providing a light lunch, so we'll turn it around really fast after the service. So we invite all of you to come next Sunday and stay for that. And we will have that meeting on Zoom for those who wish to connect by Zoom. Next Saturday, on the 11th, our congregational care team is having an open house. It's inviting anyone who is interested in learning more about what our care team offers this community and how they work, interested in volunteering, or if you have some concerns and needs that you would like to share, come on down on Saturday and join us in the hospitality room. And Debbie Foster, I realized I didn't put the time. Are you here? She is 10. Thank you, Peggy. 10 a.m. Join us at 10 a.m. I didn't put the time on the slide. As you know, this fellowship donates 25% of its unpledged plate offering to a local organization whose mission aligns with our social justice mission. And for the month of November, that partner is Giraffe Laugh. Their mission is to provide quality early childhood education and care, ensuring school readiness, and to make sure that every family has access to this education and to this care, which we all know is so desperately needed in our state, in the ways in which that our state government keeps trying to strip away funding and support for that very important education. So here to share just a little bit more about what they're working on right now at Giraffe Laugh and the power of their work is Cassandra Wagner. There's Cassandra. Welcome, Cassandra.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Reverend Sara said just a minute ago how it takes a village. And in childcare and taking care of families with small children, it's very much the same way, right? It takes a village to raise a child. And so we're so very grateful that you've invited Giraffe Laugh back again this year as the plate partner for the month of November. And you all are part of our village year over year in helping make all of the puzzle pieces come together for the families that we serve in our community. So as Reverend Sara said, Giraffe Laugh provides quality early care and education by ensuring school readiness, empowering families, and building strong futures. Those three areas of our work are we provide scholarships for low to moderate income families so that they have access to quality early care and education. We empower families by ensuring that the families we serve have the resources that they need to be successful to reduce child abuse and child neglect in their homes. And then building strong futures, we have food pantries at all of our locations, not only serving the families that we serve, but the community as well. So any of community members who need to have access to those food pantries have access to them. And that's all done through many more partnerships. But one thing I wanted to share since the last time I was speaking to you over Zoom is that Giraffe Laugh, because of so many wonderful community partnerships and support from Governor Little, we're actually just broke ground a little over a week ago for a brand new Giraffe Laugh on the corner of Franklin and Orchard, where we're going to be serving 80 more children in the community. And this, yes. And all of this work is possible because of so many partnerships we have in the community that are making our current programs strong and keeping them strong so that we're able to expand and address some of the 400 children on our waiting lists. In addition to that, though, I do have to say that we're also partnering with the Boys and Girls Club in Cuna. They're building a brand new 21,000 square foot facility, and Giraffe Laugh has been invited to come along as the provider for children, infant through 5-year-olds out there, where we will also be serving an additional 66 children in the Cuna community. So we're really very excited about that. So my time is limited, and I just wanted to thank you all again on behalf of Giraffe Laugh and the families that we serve for continuing to support our mission and our organization so that more children in our communities have access to that quality early care and education, because when families can't afford it, oftentimes those children are sometimes placed in very dire situations. It could be a basement in a high chair, just watching television all day. They could be left alone home with older siblings who are maybe not quite fit to be caring for them. There's so many different circumstances, and in the state of Idaho, we're about 28,000 child care seats short right now. During the pandemic, over 300 child care centers shut down throughout the state of Idaho, and that number is continuing to grow today. So thank you. Your work is important, and We just love that we are able to partner with you, and thank you again for choosing us as your plate partner.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. We are honored to be part of your village and the larger village supporting children and families in our community. Our spiritual theme for this month is wilderness, the practice of getting lost. And today's service explores just how hard that really is, being in the wilderness, getting lost, especially right now, especially in these times, and how we might be able to find our way in whatever kind of wilderness life hands us. And I want to mention that our beautiful chancel sculpture is still here. I couldn't let it go just yet. It's so lovely. I didn't want to take it down. We thought we'd leave it up for a couple of more weeks and continue to invite you to bring something to add to it. An object, a note, a photo. You can see it's starting to fill out there. And especially in this theme of wilderness times and the practice of getting lost, maybe there's an object that might help anchor you or support you or help you kind of refocus yourselves in those times of getting lost that you want to add to our altar. As we are following the book for our spiritual themes this month, An Altar in the World, we wanted to create a physical altar that might help us embody some of the themes that we're exploring together. And then in a few weeks, we'll let the altar go, and we'll invite all of you to choose an object to take with you to be a reminder of community and a beacon of this community. So think about what you might like to bring to that altar. As we enter into this time of worship, let us take a moment to breathe together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe, inviting yourself to become fully present in this space, wherever it is you find yourself. Breathe, knowing that your breath connects you to one another, to your body, to our planet. Our breath offers us an opportunity for stillness, to tune in to our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the praise, thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream. As I've been thinking about this theme of wilderness and getting lost, I've come back to these words of this prayer that I speak every week. And it was something that was introduced to me by my minister at my church in California. So I've been hearing and speaking these words now nearly weekly for 18 plus years. So they really have become a kind of anchor for me. And I was thinking, gosh, in the wilderness times, these words really speak to the thing that we might be able to turn to or hold on to or hold in our heart when we're really lost. And many years ago now, I think, Mike Lemieux decided to put the words to music and make a song from these beautiful words. And so in this month of celebrating this theme and honoring this theme together, we're going to sing the words to Mike's music as our centering hymn each week this month. So you have, some of you were offered a sheet of music when you came in if you would like that sheet of music, but the words will also be up here on the screens. I invite us to rise in body or spirit and sing together. In singing, we experience these words in a new way.
Each Sunday, we light our flaming chalice, a symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We join in this lighting in solidarity and community with other Unitarian Universalists lighting chalices today in churches, homes, and in virtual worship spaces, reminding us that we are connected to one another and to a larger community of faith and love. Today, we have a young chalice lighter with us. We invite a child to light the chalice to recognize the children and youth in our community, our responsibility to them, and the future we're building together. As Carissa Benoit lights the chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you in our virtual community to light a chalice if you have one nearby, and then share in the chat where your chalice is lit this morning. With our collective chalices lit in all our spaces, we offer you this call to worship from Reverend Sara LaWall. What might the wilderness teach us? How to move in the darkness with just nothing but our breath to hold us? How to belong to ourselves with a wild heart and outstretched arms? How to remember the ancestors' journey lit by 1,000 stars? What might the wilderness teach us? How to pray to our 1,000 stars and feel our own life's blessing? How to welcome the sacredness of being, just being human? How to trust our own journey lit from within and celebrate with joy? Come, let us worship together.
Thank you, Gwyn. I would like to invite all of our young people up on this side over here to come and join me for our Time for All Ages this morning. There's so many of you today. I'm so excited. Hello, everybody. Hello to our new young people who are joining us maybe for the first or second or third time. Welcome. It's so great to have you all. Yeah, come on down. So at the start of every month, when we introduce a new theme, this year we are trying to also connect it to our earth and to have an earth teacher that connects with our theme. And so this month, I'm wondering if you might be able to guess what our earth teacher is this morning. Look at the screen. Anyone? Conley. A dandelion. That's right. And so how many of you have ever picked a dandelion before? Yeah. And imagine that you've just picked one. And then what do you do with your dandelion? And when you blow, what do you do? Do some of you make a wish? You make a wish. Yeah. And then you spread, that dandelion is almost like it has more than one wish, right? You spread those wishes out and they get carried by the wind. But you know, some people, even including me sometimes, I'll admit, think dandelions are kind of a pest. They think some of us think they're weeds. We call them weeds. Yeah. But actually, dandelions have a lot to teach us. And so, are they weeds or are they wishes? Maybe it's a matter of yes, that's right, Carissa. Yes, is the answer, is your answer. Maybe they're both. Or maybe it's a matter of perspective. What other lessons do you think a dandelion might have to teach us? Yes. It can help you make wishes, right? So maybe to listen to your own heart. That's a good one. Yeah. Did you know that dandelions are edible? Did you know you can eat the whole thing? Stem, flowers, leaves, the whole thing. So dandelions, so what would the lesson there be? Not that we should be edible, but dandelions are very versatile, right? Right? They're wishes, they are nourishing. They've been used in medicines and dyes to dye colors and clothing. So it teaches us that no matter how ordinary we might look or seem, we actually have a lot to contribute to the world, a lot of usefulness. And did you know, because the reason why some people like to think that dandelions are weeds are why? Do you know why? Because they are, yeah? They spread seeds quickly, yes. Why else, Cambria?
Well, I was going to add on to that. I learned one time when I picked a whole bunch of yellow dandelions and I just left them outside, the next day they turned into the white ones.
Oh, yeah. So they replicate quickly. Yes. Sebastian. They steal water from other plants. Well, okay. Maybe that's a lesson of what not to do for the dandelion. Loke.
It could help you. So the water can help it grow. That's why dandelions can give water to plants.
Yes, dandelions can grow anywhere. They exist on 6 different continents in the world. They're very adaptable. So think about that lesson for yourself. What would it take to think about how you could flourish anywhere? That even when you feel a little like lost in life, or you feel like life's a little bit hard sometimes, or you're having a moment of struggle in school or at home or with a sibling or with your parents or with your other caregivers, you're feeling frustrated, just think about how versatile you are, just like a dandelion, and that you really can flourish anywhere and you can adapt to your surroundings. What lesson might it teach us when we blow the beautiful fronds of dandelion seeds into the wind? What is that like in life? What can we learn from that? Like if we're shedding something. Can it teach us to maybe let go of things? Like not hold on to them so tightly? To be more light like a dandelion, to let it spread? And what else do we know about those seeds when we blow them? Where do they go? Everywhere. And depending on whether or not there's wind, right? Dandelions can travel really far. So some of those lessons are about learning when we need to let go, learning about change and the life cycle of a dandelion. It changes a lot. And then learning that we can travel, we can explore, we can go new places. And because dandelions like to take over, sometimes they're pervasive. They teach us persistence. They teach us to keep going after the things that are important in the world and keep doing good work in the world and keep loving each other in the world. That persistence, that tenacity. Yes, look. Okay, well, think about it. You can talk more about dandelions together and think about what other lessons they might have in your religious education classes. But I want you to think about all these lessons the next time you see a dandelion. It might be a while before we see those puffs again. The next time you see a dandelion and you make your wish, think about all of those lessons that you can bring into your own heart from the dandelion. Thank you. I'm going to let you tell that to everybody in the class, okay? We're going to sing for a second. We're going to sing our community blessing as our children, 5 through 5th grade, go off through these doors over there. You have a really cool activity today. I can't wait to see what you do. Come and show me the fruits of your labor. Come and show me what you've made after RE is done today. And our youth out these doors with Lyndon. Let's sing. You want to stand and sing together? So in addition to our earth teachers, we've also decided that we wanted to try to find a practice, sometimes a centering practice or a kind of practice that helped us embody the theme a little bit more. And so today our practice, embodying the theme of wilderness and embodying the lessons of a dandelion, I'm going to invite you to do this practice together. Just hold in your minds that first phrase of our community blessing, may your minds be open to new learning. Because the practice that I am going to invite you to do, be like a dandelion, embracing the practice of getting lost, is to move to a new seat except the choir. Choir, you can practice next week. So, we're creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit. And I know some of you are very much creatures of habit here in this sanctuary. So today I'm going to invite you to conjure up your inner dandelion. Let's just do it. Come on, you can do it. Stretch. Spread your seeds. And give some high fives. Say a hello along the way. Find a new seat. Find a new seat. Find a new seat mate. You might want to shift more to this side of the room. Oh, that's no one's going to listen to me. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Good job, you're doing it. You're doing it. Some of you are not sure. Good work, friends. Look at all these beautiful dandelions. Okay, good work. You did it. You're noisy dandelions. Friends on Zoom, I hope you just took the opportunity to maybe travel around your space, sit in a different chair. If you have a laptop, you could take it with you to a different spot. You know, sometimes the playfulness of embracing these themes and these practices, as simple and silly as they seem, just help us just a little bit move into that space when we're really lost, when we're really in the wilderness. And as we look around and as I watch you chat with each other and move, I'll just also remind you that in those moments of wilderness, wherever your dandelion flutters, especially in community, there is still someone next to you. There is still someone to connect with. So thank you. Thank you all for that practice. And now we take up the practice of generosity. That spiritual practice that reminds us that the world is larger than our smallest circles, that helps us tune in to the abundance of life and share that abundance with the wider community. To give is to say yes to the things that matter most, to our values, saying yes to building beloved community within and beyond our walls, to commit ourselves to the work of justice and compassion, and to share that work with those who are stewarding the youngest minds among us. I invite the ushers to please come forward. Our offering will now be gratefully received.
In Barbara Brown Taylor's chapter on the practice of getting lost, she celebrates the concept of heading out into the world with no particular destination in mind. The French call a person who is willing to go wherever the wind blows him un flâneur, or une flâneuse. In today's reading, poet Billy Collins provides a glimpse into how that urban wandering might lead to new insights. The Flâneur by Billy Collins. He considers the boulevards ideal for thinking, so he takes the air on a weekday evening to best appreciate the crisis of modern life. I thought I would try this for a while, but instead of being in Paris, I was in Florida. So the time-honored sights were not available to me despite my regimen of aimless strolling. No kiosks or glass-roofed arcades, no beggar with a kerchief covering her hair, no woman holding her hat down as she crossed the street, no Victor Hugo look-alike scowling in a greatcoat, no girls selling fruit or sweets from a cart, no prostitutes circled under a street lamp, no solitude of the moving crowd where I could find the dream of refuge. I did notice a man looking at his watch, and I reflected briefly on the passage of time. Then I saw two ladies dressed in lime green and pink, and I pondered the fate of the sister arts as they stepped into the street arm in arm. "Who needs Europe?" I muttered into my scarf as a boy flew by on a skateboard and I fell into a reverie on the folly of youth and the tender, distressing estrangement of my life.
Who needs Europe? Especially when we have each other. When we're really lost and wandering, whether intentionally wandering or not, or when we're really lost and we take a moment to sit still, inevitably, eventually, we will find someone else who is also lost. And we will have that moment of connection, that moment of recognizing the shared struggles of this human condition. So we, as a community, take time to recognize that shared struggle together, to receive and carry the joys and sorrows of those of us in this beloved community, to receive the blessings of being in community together, and to remind ourselves that we are not alone. We begin by sharing these joys and sorrows with the whole community. Carrie Bastian and David Scott share the joyful news that they welcomed their brand newest grandbaby, Brooklyn Suzanne Blakely, last week, and Mom and Dad are here, and the baby is in the window of the nursery. So great. We get the joyful beauty of Mom's, Bonnie's presence. Bonnie is Mom, playing the flute for us later today. Grandbaby, this is Brooklyn Suzanne Blakely. And members Angie Tate and Phil Tate, they also welcomed a new first grandbaby. Gus Tate and wife Kelly had their baby girl on November 1st, Lenora Elaine Tate. Congratulations to the whole family. I want to share a particular joy with you all. A couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to accept the invitation to officiate 2 different weddings in prison, of trans couples in prison. And so I found myself at the Snake River Correctional Institution and at the Idaho Department of Corrections officiating weddings, an experience I had never had before. But it was really delightful to experience a moment of love and beauty and joy in what is oftentimes such a bleak place. And to be proud of now being known as the minister who will officiate LGBTQIA weddings anywhere. On our behalf, like what a beautiful, cool way to live out our Unitarian Universalist values. And we hold in our hearts the challenges and sorrows of our community. We hold Tom Neal, who was hospitalized briefly last week, is recovering, he's here, and adjusting to a new diagnosis. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud or share in the chat. Speak into this community of love that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all of our joys and sorrows, those shared and those that remain silent and close to our hearts. May we feel the grace that surrounds us and be transformed by the spirit of life and love, with a warmth to celebrate the joys and a gentleness to soothe our aching hearts. Breathe with me. Fill your body with breath. Breathe with this beloved community, holding all our joys and sorrows, and the collective joys and sorrows of our world. Breathe with wholeheartedness. Listen to what is calling you in the silence. Amen. Thank you, choir. Kind of just want to go lay down under the stars right now, tonight, later. When I first read An Altar in the World many years ago, the book that we're using for our monthly spiritual themes, and read this chapter, the wilderness, the practice of getting lost, it was my favorite chapter. I preached a sermon about it during my internship. I think I even revived and reshaped that sermon and preached it here several years ago. I loved this chapter because it affirmed my own adventurer spirit. I've always enjoyed getting lost. Whenever we're in a new place, I love taking new routes or new hikes or new neighborhood walks, exploring new spaces. I love to wander. I love sitting in new seats. I'm the one who annoyed many of us, my seminary classmates, by sitting in a different seat every time we had class. But I enjoy the way it kind of sparks something new in my brain. It feels kind of invigorating and delightful. Barbara Brown Taylor suggests that we can build up some spiritual resilience by seeking out smaller, simpler practices of getting lost, embracing the wilderness, literally or figuratively, so that when life inevitably throws us into the big, unknown, uncertain wilderness times, which we all know that it will, we have some wilderness skills in our tool belt. Good wisdom. I believe it too, and I have really seen it work in my own life. She talks of the power of being lost, of consenting to be lost as an opportunity to experience life's moments, holy moments of beauty and possibility and transformation, as we reckon in the wilderness times with that real vulnerability and the fragility of life. Getting lost changes us, she says. If someone asked us to pinpoint the times in our life that changed us for the better, a lot of those times might be wilderness times. One of my favorite quotes from the book is the quote that I used for today's worship service. Some of you might have read it in the email this week. It goes like this: "The practice of getting lost has nothing to do with wanting to go there. It is something that happens like it or not. You lose your job, your lover leaves, the baby dies. At this level, the advanced practice of getting lost consists of consenting to be lost since you have no other choice. The consenting itself becomes your choice as you explore the possibility that life is for you and not against you, in spite of all the evidence to the contrary." Those words have always given me some comfort in their beautiful, gentle, heartbreaking insistence. They do something to my heart and my spirit. They soften me a little bit, which is always how I know that there's some spiritual growth happening. Over the years, I have had some success in embracing this wisdom, tuning into the smallest blessings or beauty in unimaginable situations. When my eldest was born 9 weeks early and spent 7 weeks in the NICU, or when the pandemic lockdown hit and life and work went entirely online, when that eldest child came out as trans and began their gender transition, I can look back now and see how I embodied some of the wisdom in this chapter as I began seeking out and noticing everyday altars in the world around me. During the pandemic, I unconsciously took up this practice of creating actual altars in all of my spaces, more than usual, with objects and notes and things that had meaning. We created an entire altar in the office of every card any of you ever sent us in the 2.5 years during the pandemic. They're still up there. Some of those altars even exist in my own world. It helped me find the sacred in the midst of the storm. But recently, I will admit that I've found myself in a bit of an argument with this position. This idea of the advanced practice of being lost is consenting to be lost. The consenting itself becoming your choice as you explore the possibility that life is for you and not against you, in spite of all the evidence to the contrary. And I want so badly to embody those words, but as I was preparing for this month and this sermon, going back to the chapter, reading my notes and highlights, I heard this very frustrated, beleaguered voice inside my head, practically screaming, "I do not consent." I think I actually screamed it to Patricia out loud. And mostly that's because life has thrown me into so many wilderness moments in what seems like such rapid succession. They just keep coming, large and small. 1 or 2 I can handle, but so many all at once. It's just too much wilderness. I do not need this much practice getting lost. I do not want to be an advanced practitioner. It feels like just when I begin to find a way up, through, forward, in whatever this new reality that wilderness has set before me, bam, something else happens and knocks me down. It feels a little bit like being stuck in the ocean surf for too long. And I like the ocean, with the big waves just coming and crashing down right upon my head, one after the other. And before I can even orient myself to where I am, there's the next one. I'm desperately trying to swim and adjust my position and catch my breath. The waves keep crashing. And not only is my own life being thrown into the wilderness in large and small ways, the whole world seems in the wilderness, in a kind of chaos, intent on destroying itself, its people, and the people I love. And that is a deep, dark wilderness from which there often appears no good way out. And I am acutely aware, truly, that I am not having to search for cover awaiting the next bomb. I am not wailing over a child being taken by war or suicide. My home has not been destroyed by a hurricane or a fire. And I do find some solace and deep gratitude in that awareness. I do. But it isn't quite enough to help me find my way. It's only one teeny, tiny star to follow in a very vast darkness. I am still most days lost in the wilderness. Maybe you are too. And personally, I'm rather done being lost. The experience of the wilderness, this wilderness, does not feel like a new adventure, an exciting, unknown exploration. It's dark and scary and unfamiliar, and I don't know what to do. I have exhausted all my wilderness skills, My body is tired. My spirit is frayed and my heart is broken. And I am not entirely convinced that life is not against me. I'm ready for comfort and predictability. I am ready for simple and easy. I am growing weary of everything being a learning opportunity. I would appreciate if any of you have an operating manual for this life. I would love to see it. An operating manual for this complicated and brutal world. Perhaps you've wished for a manual too. On my third time through the chapter on the practice of getting lost, probably it was my fourth or fifth time actually, I read a line I'd missed every time before. To lie flat on the ground with the breath knocked out of you is to find a solid resting place. To lie flat on the ground with the breath knocked out of you is to find a solid resting place. What if that is the manual? What if the practice of getting lost is as much about finding a solid resting place, laying down in the earth to feel it literally supporting you? I had a spiritual director once tell me to take my shoes off and put my bare feet on the earth in every new place I visited. I did that for a while, and it helped me remember that indeed there was ground, often beautiful ground, beneath my feet. What if the practice of getting lost is also about resting as long as you need, as much as you can, as much as life will allow, even if it's only just a few moments at a time, catching your breath until you are ready to rise up and find the next path and take a few more steps forward. I now realize that the adventurer in me used to think I could conquer the wilderness, that I could bushwhack my way through with sheer determination and force of will. But that is certainly not sustainable, nor is it very spiritual. Though our culture would like us to think that it's the only way through. It's a pinnacle of our being human. And all of this got me thinking about what happens when I get lost for real. Not in the adventurous, intentional exploration kind of lost, but the actual lostness. Lost in nature or even in the wilderness of life. What do I actually do in those moments? Is there any seed of wisdom in those moments that might be helpful to me? And so I thought back to my most recent wilderness moments, and here's what came to me. When I am lost, when I am really, really lost, I usually stop cold. I find myself unable to move, maybe frozen or paralyzed, uncertain what to do next. And then the emotion comes. Anger or frustration sometimes it's just this deep gulf of sadness rising up in me. And if I'm able, I try to let it out. A good cry, yelling or screaming inside the car with locked doors is a really good place to do that. And then I slow down. Not intentionally, really. I slow way down. I feel the slowing down in my body. It isn't always conscious. It just happens out of sheer overwhelm. And sometimes I'll just sit there and stare or rest for a while in the staring. In the slowing down, I might start to wander in my mind or with my feet. Who needs Europe? Wandering for a while, like the flaneur taking stock of my surroundings, I look for signs of familiarity or signs of comfort, something, anything that might calm the growing anxiety. I am going to start looking for dandelions. I narrate my experience like affirmations, a practice which I find simultaneously silly and helpful. I'm not a fan of the everything will be okay kind of affirmation, so I say things like, look at the clouds in the sky, or feel the rain on your skin, or it's okay not to do anything right now. They don't make anything better, really. They don't make the wilderness disappear. But they do help me stay just a little bit more centered. And I am also learning to listen for the Holy Spirit, for the whisper of the universe, or that inner wisdom, or even the wisdom of the trees. And when I pay attention, when I can focus just long enough to listen, that wisdom often guides me towards my beloveds, towards simple connection with whatever or whoever is right in front of me. It nudges me to simple spiritual practices like painting or writing poetry or taking a walk or baking cookies. It never says, work harder, move faster, take on more, or check one more email. Sometimes, if I am quiet and still enough, it says, lie down, find a solid resting place. This current wilderness might last a while. I hope it doesn't last 40 years like it did for my Jewish ancestors. But I suppose I have little control over that. I suspect I will be in it a while longer. I suspect that we, humanity, will be in it a while longer. And that life will continue to fling us into the wilderness with more frequency than we've experienced in the past. Something tells me that is the nature of the world that we are living in and the progression of life itself. Being lost in the wilderness, whether we're practicing it or living it, it does invite a kind of surrender, which is so hard to do. A surrender to the present moment with whatever feelings or challenges it brings. A surrender to the sometimes painful beauty and fragility of life. The surrendering itself is a kind of slowing down, a chance to breathe. And in that surrendering, we will notice eventually that others are there with us, other lost people, making their own way in the wilderness. And you might grab hold of one another to steady yourselves, or you might just nod in passing. Either way, if we slow down enough, we'll know that we are not alone. May it be so. Friends, I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer, the spirit of meditation, in the spirit of listening to that voice in the wilderness. Gwyn found our call to worship on the internet. It was an old reading that I had written a long time ago, and it wasn't quite right, so Gwyn suggested maybe I play around with it for this service. So that birthed the call to worship that you heard today. And I wrote it long before I wrote this sermon, and before I really knew the direction the sermon would take. And as we were going through the call to worship this morning, I heard those words again and thought, those are the words of the prayer that I need to hear today. And so I will share those words again with you, revisited as our prayer. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery, Spirit of the wilderness, teach us how to find ourselves in the abyss of life, how to belong to ourselves with wild hearts and outstretched arms. Teach us to lie down in the soft earth, trusting it and our breath will hold us. Teach us to welcome the sacredness of being, just being human. Teach us to follow the gifts of the dandelion, versatile, flourishing anywhere, embracing change, letting go, wishes in the wind. Teach us to remember the ancestors' journey, to see the imprints of their path under the light of 1,000 stars. Teach us how to pray to our 1,000 stars, to feel our life's own blessings, however small, however simple. Teach us to embrace our own journey, to follow the light within, to celebrate with joy. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. See the people. Friends, I invite you to rise in body or spirit Place your hands over your heart. For our closing blessing, take a moment to look at the beautiful dandelions all around you. May our hymns of grateful praise steady us in the wilderness times. May the light of 1,000 stars in the darkness be our guide. May we listen for the spirit of love and mystery, the spirit of our own heart whispering, lie down, find a solid resting place. Let the beauty of the earth hold you. We extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts to be our light in the wilderness until we meet again. Blessed are we all. Go in peace. Thank you. God, how beautiful that was. Hey, I am here wanting to rewrite